All right. Hello and welcome to TV Chef Fantasy League.
Yeah.
I am your host and commissioner, Sierra Kato, here
Yeah.
with Effie Wadiwe, Mike
Yeah.
Cavalon, my co-hosts. We're all giving you great face to the camera because Gabe luckily told me to cheat this way, and this is how we get more members. That's what I'm
I've
hoping.
said this before, but
hoping.
Gabe's not on camera, but Gabe is hot, just so y'all
Gabe
know.
is hot.
Yeah, you guys
Gabe
should
is
know.
hot.
Is hot.
So if
To be
y'all-
clear, Val also hot.
Yeah, Val's also hot. Sorry, I don't.
This is the point. This is the
I was
point,
like, what
okay?
the fuck?
Yeah, wow. I
And
leave
sorry,
and
everyone.
now-
I just want people to know
No,
because sometimes
she's-
you're surprised.
Mhm.
In the latest Game Changer, the PAs came, in the
Wow,
worst game
immediately dropping your other,
Yeah, yeah.
plugging your other
Wow.
ever.
shit.
Yeah. Well,
on to
you
the
know,
next show, I
hey,
guess.
Well, but they did a thing where the PAs all came. It's the worst game ever. I still am mad about it. They brought out the PAs and they're like,
Oh, I saw this
"Can
clip.
you name
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of them?" But everyone was like so surprised, like they're hot. I'm like, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Okay,
You
wow.
gotta be hot.
PAs.
You gotta be hot.
That's
if
a
you're gonna
requirement to work
be-
a Game Changer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in and around a camera, you gotta be hot.
That's why Sierra and I haven't been on Game Changer.
Well, yeah, that's
No, we
what
gotta
actually
get you on Game
what
Changer.
I was
we
told.
gotta put you through the iron of fire.
Ooh, all right, good. Booked. All right. So I wanted to bring up that Yes Chef. Mike saw Yes Chef,
Yeah,
the new
I have a
Martha
lot
Stewart.
of topics I want to bring to the table
Oh,
today,
Ooh.
and we briefly touched on Yes
Yeah.
Chef before we started rolling. Have you guys watched Yes Chef?
No,
I
but
have.
The NBC. It's a new NBC cooking competition show hosted by Martha Stewart and Jose Andres. I watched the first episode and I hated it.
oh no,
Yeah.
What? Why?
I think that so the premise isn't really in the trailer, and the premise isn't bad, but I think they're spinning it wrong. So the premise in the show was like, we have all the chefs here have been nominated by someone in their lives. Usually it's like their sous chef or
Yeah.
people who work for them.
Okay.
And they're like, you have like one obstacle that's preventing you from being a great chef. So it's like, oh, you lack confidence, or you're like an asshole, or you're a perfectionist, or whatever it is. And so this is a cooking competition show. We're going to judge your dishes and that's it. But the challenges are designed to like push you. Right.
yeah,
And I think that if the message is like, this is a show about becoming a better person, I'm like, that's great. It's like Chef Queer Eye. Sure.
Yeah.
Great. But all the trailers are just like, it's the Gordon Ramsay stuff, like people like blowing their tops and like yelling at each other. And I'm like, that's not as interesting. And also the other thing that I don't like is that the skill levels are all over the place. So like Katsuji from Top Chef
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
contestant.
What's
Oh,
his
wow.
flaw?
I don't remember. It's that he's Katsuji. I think they labeled it as arrogant or something like that.
Oh, okay. He
Oh.
had a little personality.
And it does
yeah.
feature heavily in the first episode. But then there are also chefs, like there was one chef where Katsuji was like, oh, what kind of pressure cooker are you more comfortable with? The stovetop one or the one that like cooks on its own over there? And he goes, neither. And there was a different chef who was also like, oh, I don't like killing things before I cook them, and like had to butcher a lobster. And she's like, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant she was like, I like to cook it alive.
I'm a
Believe it.
sick masochist. No, so it's just like there are chefs who like don't know how to kill a lobster and like don't know how to use a pressure cooker, and also a top chef. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I'm like,
oh, yeah.
it's already not interesting because if you're judging based on food, then we all know who's gonna win.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, it seems also maybe season one shakes where it's like they got to hone in and get enough reputability for people to then apply so they can create an even playing field.
Yes, but I'm also, I don't know. There are some shows, I've talked about Farmer Wants a Wife on this show
Oh,
before.
yes, which I
It's like-
finally kind of started an episode. I don't think I made it all the way through.
Rightfully so, because it's not good. I like
Okay.
hate watch it. It's one of those
Nice.
things where, okay, you know how like sometimes you'll date someone because you're like, I can fix them.
Yeah.
I have no desire to be a reality TV producer, but I'm like, I could fix Farmer Wants a Wife. Give me
Okay.
the show. I could make
Yeah.
it better.
Mhm.
I hate watch it right now, and I don't know why, because I'm giving them the ratings and they think they're doing a good job, and they're simply not.
Is it just a show about a farmer who?
It's about
looking
four
for-
farmers, four like single guys who live on a farm or farm of some sort. Sometimes they're like ranchers who raise cattle or whatever. And then like a bunch of women who move onto the farm with him, and he has to pick a mate.
Okay.
But it is okay. How much time do we want to spend on this? Because I could talk about Farmer
Yeah.
Wants a Wife forever.
I mean, we have some time. Let's
Okay,
let's
I'll
skip,
categorize the
some.
two main problems with Farmer Wants a Wife. One is timeline, and the second one is casting. So timeline, the issue is that there is no sense of time on the show. So like usually with a reality competition show, it's like every week there's a rose ceremony where this many people are eliminated.
Yeah.
And every 3 episodes, we're going to do one of these kinds of things where something else happens. On Farmer Wants a Wife, you have no idea how long they're on the farm. at any point in time, someone can just go like, I'm done and leave the show. There's never any point where the farmers have to eliminate anyone.
Oh.
And there's also this weird sense of like, this is like almost a separate problem, but I can umbrella it under this where it's like, I think the producers don't treat it like a documentary, even though they're all living together. They treat it like we're going to stage these moments. So there are these moments where it's like there will be a conflict. And then days later in a different city, they'll be like, we haven't had a chance to talk about that. And I'm like, what have you been doing?
Living life.
Fucking.
Yeah,
One
like
and wife.
we're like 2/3 the way through the season, and there's still contestants where the farmer's like, I haven't had much time to connect with this person. I'm like, haven't you been living 3 feet away from them for however long you've been on the farm? Which again, we don't know. It would be so much easier if at the beginning of the season they said they're going to spend 30 days on the farm, but they don't. So you just get these random comments in episode 2 where the girl's like, we've been here for weeks. And I'm like, what do you mean you've been here for weeks?
Yeah, I have no way of knowing that. So is it clear whether or not they're having sex?
They're very specifically not, because some of the farmers are like, I haven't kissed any of the girls. And I'm like, you're a fucking pussy, dude.
Wow.
You're living with 5 contestants and you're going to arguably marry one of them.
And you're not going to kiss?
You got to
It's
kiss.
farm time. They
Okay,
gotta-
and then the other big problem is that I think they cast it wrong. I don't know if there's like division within the ranks of like how the show should be cast. I think that some of the producers think it's like good television to do fish out of water casting, but it's not interesting for the premise of the show because they'll cast a couple girls every season that are like from the city and they are not comfortable doing farm work and they're like, yuck. And then when the farmer sits them down and is like, what do you think of this lifestyle? Could you see yourself living here? She's like, ugh, no. And I'm like, then why are you on a show called Farmer Wants a Fucking Wife?
Yeah.
They should
The
weeded them out.
prize, if you win the show, is you get to move to this farm. It's not like he's going to give up being a farmer. He owns this farm. You are supposed to move to his farm.
Does the show give them any money at all?
No, the prize is true love.
You know, you get a farmer.
Not in this economy.
It's
I mean,
not
the thing-
enough.
Here's what I will say about the little bit I saw. We were like,
Yeah.
these farmers must be extremely wealthy. Like,
I don't think farmers classically.
No, I know, but that they're not picking the true farmer. It seems like they were picking like people who had like inheritance from an oil
Sure,
thing in
yeah,
Texas, and
yeah.
they're like wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
a farmer, right? But it's like, no, they're actually probably
That's
not
true.
doing much work.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever they're doing, it's not what you'd picture or like
Yeah.
actually harvesting.
But I also think that's where you find like TV ready farmers.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think what they might get out of it, I guess, connecting it, the prize is you become the wife of this like wealthy oil man.
Right.
Yeah.
And some girls are still
Don't
just
touch
like, ugh, yuck. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not like it's funny for 2 seconds, but it belies the inherent premise of the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
no, wait. Val is saying she could talk about Farmer Wants a Wife for a very long time. Doesn't have
Wow.
her mic set up yet. Wow.
Wow.
All
I
right.
can't wait to hear
Much
Val's
to look
take.
forward
Well,
to.
I just need y'all to come on the Temptation Island side with me.
Oh, God.
Okay.
so,
It's on the
yeah.
list. People
Messy.
keep recommending it.
It is like you're watching the first episode. It's like watching someone build a bomb.
Just waiting for that to
It's
go
like
off.
we invited these like early 20-year-old couples. One of them has been cheated on by the other.
Oh,
and
wow.
to prove that they are
Loyal. Yeah.
loyal, we're going to be here in Temptation Island with the hottest people you see, and all they want to do is steal them.
Right.
does
It's
sound
not
fun.
a good
That
does
sound fun.
setup
I
for
don't know
success.
what the producers are saying, but it's all the right stuff because
Okay.
they're
Amazing.
coming in so hot, and it's exactly what you want from trash TV.
I
Okay,
mean,
I love that. I love that.
That is
You
great.
gotta maybe that's
Delivers on promise.
Spin-off pod.
Yeah, that'll be
Ooh.
like our Boca where we just binge a season and see who can make it the
Okay.
furthest.
That would be fun.
Okay, so putting a cap on Yes Chef,
Yeah.
I'll say the very small third thing that I hate about it is that the title card is AI.
Oh no.
It's like weirdly low res for being on television,
Right.
and it's animated badly. I'm like, this is clearly AI, and I hate that.
So it begins a full AI reality show soon. Okay. We'll get right into this episode then. As we all know, it's Restaurant Wars this week, so there's lots to talk about,
Mhm.
and also just one challenge to talk about. So we start off. They're in their little central area of their apartment. Letter under door. It's from KK. Grab your knives and meet me at the warehouse venue. And we can kind of tell they know that it's probably
know.
this week. There's 8 total contestants, so most likely this is the time for Restaurant Wars. They meet the guest judges for this Restaurant Wars. It's Nina Compton. She's from Top Chef Season 11. Compere Le Pan. And Janet Zuccherini, Top Chef Canada judge, Gusto 54 Restaurant Group. These are people everyone's very excited about. And this is the beginning of Restaurant Wars. So no quick fire. They jump right into drawing knives. We got Team 1, Bailey, Paola, who's the exec chef. Cesar Schwei, who will be front of house. Team 2, Massimo, front of house. Vinny Tristan, who was exec chef and has immunity.
Yeah.
And Lana. What were your initial impressions of this team breakdown?
I think that Massimo is the right choice for front of house, and I was disappointed that he was not like the best front of house person ever.
Yeah.
He seems like the most, like in
Yeah.
several seasons, the most like personable,
Sure.
like
Yeah.
get him out there.
I mean,
Yeah.
he did deliver in some ways by when we'll get into this, but it's like he was the one very contrasted
Yes.
with Schwei, greeting
Yeah,
them with
yeah.
Prosecco. He did do the kind of chin on the table thing, which maybe didn't match like the
Sure.
vibe, but I feel like the vibe of the restaurant had been, even the Nona Pipon, like if it had been a little more
Right,
casual, maybe
right.
it would have worked out. And here's my other theory. I feel like Massimo's very charming and gets everybody kind of like a little blush in the face.
Because he's hot.
But then, like they don't want to give it, they kind of want to nag him a little bit. You know what I mean? So they don't want to hand it to him completely.
Yeah, they can't just
Yeah.
say you get it because you're hot.
Yeah. And it's also like he's so confident, you almost don't want to give it to the super confident person.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because just hater energy.
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. I forgot to bring this up, and we can insert this at any point in the episode. Eater, the National Eater, published an article this week. I don't know if you saw it. One of their writers ate at Restaurant Wars
Wow.
and wrote like a firsthand experience of what it's like. And it's really interesting, and we don't have to cover the whole
Ooh.
thing here. I just recommend like go on Eater and read it.
Right.
But I'm remembering because she brought up that whole like Prosecco thing, because Tom clocks it when Massimo hands them the Prosecco on their way in. And he goes, but I noticed the group in front of us didn't get that.
Okay.
And the writer also mentioned that. She was like, it was not the same experience that
Sure.
the judges got.
That is true. I will say, I feel like the judges, you have to play favorites because even if that like will help you more
Of
than
course.
doing the equal
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So
Well,
I kind of get it.
And also in like the real world, I feel like when if someone new like a food critic was coming in, you're gonna get that
Of course.
extra.
Yeah. Ratatouille.
So yeah, exactly.
I stole Sierra's favorite reference, Ratatouille.
Antonigo!
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's
yes.
like, it's like like that isn't that much of a like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, dude, you're not the judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we didn't know you were going to write this for Eater.
Yeah.
But yes, I see. That's cool though. I feel like they have never written anything like that before. Right?
Yeah, it was really illuminating. She talks about how like the food is like it's good, but it's not amazing. And then she talked to Tom Colicchio afterward, and she quoted him. And Tom Colicchio said something like, "Well, yeah, if I have like collard greens at Restaurant Wars, I'm not comparing it to every collard greens I've ever had. I'm comparing it to like what the other team is putting out of
Okay.
their kitchen."
It's
Ooh,
really
interesting.
just
Yeah.
a versus situation. Okay,
Right.
that makes sense because the complete 24-hour turnaround.
It's not going
is
to be the best
insane.
food you've ever
yeah.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't seem to be. So we'll get into that. So winning team,
Ooh.
transition. The winning team will take home $40,000. They get $10,000 each. Always exciting. And so they kind of go into their brainstorming. We kind of immediately see that team 1 is a bit more contentious. Like they don't land on their.
Sorry, who are you labeling as Team 1?
Oh, sorry. Team 1 is Flora and Fauna.
Flora
eventually.
and Fauna.
So Tristan's team essentially like they're at first Massimo suggested Canada dishes and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, maybe we do vegetable forward. Honestly, when I heard vegetable forward, I was like, oh no.
Oh
No. Because it's always harder, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like kneecapping yourself a little bit. And then versus the other team, they immediately were like, oh yeah, Grandma Chic.
Grandma Chic was a great theme.
Mhm.
Loved it.
It made them way easier to like pick out decor too.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem, right? When you have these bigger personalities, right? They all want to be like, well, my idea is good. And naturally I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to just let the guy who just has taken how many wins?
Sure.
Yeah, you can
Mhm.
take it. You can, and I'll listen to you. And if you fuck up, I will throw you under the bus.
Right.
Right. Yeah, we have a little bit of that. But yeah, for sure, it did seem like Team Grandma Chic, Nona Pipon was like a little bit more on the same page and made the furniture and everything easier. They had their little
I
cute
was kind of
counter.
hoping that this is such a small thought. They were picking out plates, and I was like, if it's Grandma Chic, get all the plates. Every plate should be different.
Oh yeah,
That's just my
Yes.
personal opinion.
No, I
10 out
love
of 10.
that.
No, you're right. Playing
Yeah.
a restaurant.
Yeah.
They've collected all
Get
the
me in there.
plates from
Make me
every-
reality TV producer. I can fix it.
How to make
Yes.
it better. All the different plates. Yes. Yeah, they should have done that. Would have been cool. But anyway, they then go to shopping. So the shopping is where Nona Pipon gets a little They fall
what
behind.
a terrible strategy.
They all want to
We're
go together.
all going to shop together every store. I was like, why?
It's an interesting sort of theme here, right? Because they were sort of promoting that Nona Pipon team was like, we're all in this together, guys. We all agree on everything. We love each
guess.
other.
High
We're
School
all shopping
Musical.
together. Exactly. They had that plan in their minds, and that actually harmed them because then
Yeah.
they couldn't split up to make it quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just like a bad strategic move. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's great that you all want to like, kumbaya together.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this
hold
is a game.
hands. Yeah.
Play the game.
Yeah.
Right. So they should have split up, but as a result, Team 2 arrives first in the kitchen, and then Lana and Bailey are still shopping while Shuai and Cesar like are already there ready to prep. But they don't
Yeah.
even have the groceries. It's like a
Yeah.
bit of a, that's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they finally arrive, they start a prep, and so Lana and Bailey kind of arrive with only a little bit over an hour left. So they're all prepping. This is when the PA comes in, or someone from the crew comes in and tells Tristan, family emergency, his mom called. So they go outside, and then they show him taking this call. I feel like, okay, immediately you're like, uh-oh, heart
Yeah, yeah,
dropped. But
yeah.
also it's like kind of, I don't know. What do you guys think about the reality? I mean, when it's like something like this, I get why they film it.
Yeah.
But it's also so
Yeah.
weird, right?
Yeah,
Do
because
you mean
it-
the actual like camera on him as he's having the conversation?
Yeah, or like him finding out that his mom, even saying the PA, showing like the person approach him.
Go ahead. Do you have a thought?
Well, I was like, it's still entertainment, it's still television. And like, I think to go back on what you were saying with Farmer Wants Wife, wanting,
I guess.
Here we go.
wanting a more like documentary style. If
Yeah.
this was a documentary about this moment, that
Right.
would be captured.
Yeah.
So I
Right,
kind
right.
of see both sides of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would actually, I would feel a little, I don't know, like not betrayed, but I wouldn't like it if it was a glossier, more polished or presentational, just like,
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a developed feeling on this because I'm going back on what I'm saying just now. I'm like, I could see a version, because Housewives does this all the time, which is also a Bravo show, where they will just like cut to black and put text on the screen to explain something that happened when the
Oh.
cameras weren't there.
Yeah.
So they
Right,
could have
they could
easily
do
just
that,
been
yeah.
like, Tristan received a call that his father's in the hospital, and then you just cut to him doing a confessional in tears.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see both ways.
Right. No, yeah. It's like, of course, the producer would be like, get it on camera, right? Because
Right,
that
right.
tells the story. You're there with him. But yeah, I feel like if I were him, I'd be, and then it goes back to Tristan, at least like he seems fine.
And I feel like-
having it on.
Yeah.
So.
Just knowing what we know from most behind the scenes, I would hope there's like an element, right, where it's like, hey, are you cool with us posting this, or we can do the
Right,
Fade to
right.
Black joint?
Yeah. You would have to
Sure,
assume they
so
ran
maybe
it by
they-
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hope. And then him being in the confessional, like talking about it, where it's clearly like, oh, he wants to talk about, or less, he's
Yes.
not being held hostage in
Right,
a way, or
yeah,
this
yeah.
isn't take a stolen shot.
Because there is a
Uh-huh.
version of this where any contestant could just be like, I'm not talking about this on camera. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Sure. And then you're just, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always a little, but yeah, immediately we knew something was wrong. Tristan returns, and his face, I was just like crying.
Wait, sorry. I just thought of something. Can I just say real quick?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know if what I'm going to say is true. I remember hearing a rumor that I don't know if it was one of the housewives or if like one of the housewives started it and then it just like got around. If there's something happening as they're shooting Real Housewives that they don't want to air, one of them will just start singing a song because they can't clear it.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, that's so smart.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sing a song, put like a big logo in front of your
Right.
face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's the only way.
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
No. Yeah. Well, so he didn't do that. So, maybe
Yeah,
he-
exactly,
maybe he's
yeah.
okay with it. No. So yeah. So I don't know. Just like, yeah, this whole episode is just it's just a big old sob fest
Yeah.
for me. I was, I mean, anybody would be, I don't know. It was just really touching. But Tristan returns, his face is so sad already. And obviously he just heard this news. At that time, it's like his dad had a stroke. So then he's in a
Yeah.
coma. So a medically
And that's a
induced coma.
fast
so you're like,
turnaround because by like the next commercial break, it's like he passed away last night.
yeah, I guess, it's like, you only have a certain amount of time. I think the coma was like to put, see if he could stay alive, right? And then I
Right,
don't know,
right.
I'm not a doctor, but I have watched The Pit. No, I watched.
My old barber is on The Pit,
Oh,
What?
Yeah.
Which one?
which is it's the lady with the locks.
I haven't watched the
is
pit, so this means nothing to me.
she like the social
I don't know.
worker lady?
Your old barber was a lady?
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My current barber's a lady too.
Oh, look
yeah,
at
yeah.
that, you little progressive
Oh.
feminist.
Yeah. Look, I,
Yes,
you
I
know,
that's
I just, I want to be the change.
Oh,
that I
wow,
wanna see in
wow.
the world.
and look at her
Um,
now. She's on the pit. That thanks
Dr.
to you.
Parker Ellis is her
Oh, okay.
character.
I'm not sure if I.
Yeah, Aisha.
Good for her.
Oh, yes, yeah. She comes in towards. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's good. Okay. Well,
It's
great.
crazy to have someone cutting your hair and you're telling them about your dreams and then they
Do
surpass
your
you.
dreams.
Stop.
Like, damn,
That sounds good. I
my
could go for
God.
that.
Yeah. I should do acting. What?
Amazing.
Huh?
Huh. Well, wait a second.
Val is
Tell me more about those
chatting us.
dreams. Oh.
Dr. Ellis, I love Dr. Ellis. I love the pit.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yes. Yeah. Actually, Val got me into the pit because you had. I'm talking directly to Val now. She had talked about how great it is. I was like, I don't think I can get into that, and then I watched it all in like 3 days.
Ooh.
So good. So anyway, we love the pit. Don't know much about medicine, but yes. So back to the show. I'm sorry.
To our show. We've talked
Back
about
to the
every other
show.
show
Yeah, no, this is
except for
good.
Top
It's
Chef.
a show about shows. And
By
this
the
is one of
way,
shows.
we also haven't talked about this. Is like old news. We just keep forgetting to talk about it every week. Padma is doing a new show.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Where?
She's developing a new show for CBS, I think.
Ooh.
We don't know
Okay.
it. There are no details, but it was just like announced like she's working on a new cooking show.
Oh, another
It
cooking
must-
show.
I wonder if it's going to have a comedy element because, you know,
Yeah,
she's
that's her
going so
thing.
It
hard.
has
Yeah.
to. God, you use a UCB training, can't go
Yeah.
to waste.
And you're at
And,
CBS, the home of America's favorite
ooh,
sitcoms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She'll get lots of cameras.
Mike and
going.
Molly.
Oh,
There we
there
go.
we go. That's
we're
one of them. Speaking of shows, back to this show. So then we cut to the next day. Tristan learns his father has officially passed away. He's processing it. Everybody's there for him, but he wants to keep doing this because his mom said his dad, wanted him to not give up on the stream. And I think that's really
Very
beautiful.
sweet.
I mean, gosh, it is really a thing too, where it's like we do kind of, that is sort of like, wow, right? Like, it's like you do kind of think, oh man, these chefs are like so amazing. They
Yeah.
would just power through. But I'm also like, oh, I hope.
I know.
He's okay,
Those are the situations where it's like there is no right answer. Because if he would have said, I can't compete, I'm leaving, no one would have faulted him.
Yeah.
But then it would have sucked for him to like be on the plane as his father died, land and be like, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
You got turn back around, go cook again. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right. Oh gosh. Yeah. So, he's stuck through it and he has to do a whole restaurant now.
Yeah.
So anyway, they go to their warehouse, the warehouse venue where they get to set up all the things. It's cool. They walk in, you have one side painted pink, one side painted green.
One side Glinda, one side Alphaba.
Yeah, very little Wicked promo
They
after
literally
the
picked
fact.
the exact shades of Wicked marketing. I was
Yeah.
like, I see
I
what
think
you're
so.
doing.
Yeah, they did a good job. And hey, there's another one coming out, so it does still work, even though the first one already came out.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that definitely was like Bravo giving them the pinks. Like we're one of the we're bidding for a promo for the Wicked release.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just
It's all Universal. It's all Bravo.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine.
yeah.
One of you has to do grandma pink and one has to do vegetable
yeah,
green.
yeah.
So that worked out in their favor. We kind of see, one thing is Massimo's loud ass voice is booming through these
Yes.
thin
Oh yeah.
Thin walls.
drywall, whatever they put up. And then we kind of see their different instructional styles. Kristen has like a very clear instructions for the tickets, which is cool. And that's like exactly what you need to run Restaurant Wars.
Yeah.
So you know that, some people do have either watch the show, have a lot of restaurant
Mhm.
background. That's going to be come in handy
Oh,
here.
okay. In this episode, we learned something. It's a question I've had for 22 seasons
Oh,
now, and I'm so glad we finally got the answer. I feel like we've talked about it on the show. I've always wondered where the fuck they find these awful ass servers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought it was like they just find people from central casting. They're just like, we need 20 bodies. We don't give a
Yeah.
shit whether or not you worked in a restaurant. And in this episode, we found out they're caterers.
Right. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
catering doesn't have a lot of restaurant experience. That's right. That makes sense.
It's like, yeah, they know how to carry a tray,
Yeah.
but they don't necessarily know how a kitchen works.
Yeah.
Right.
That was so illuminating
Taking
for me.
specific orders.
It
yeah,
felt
right.
so. It's like I can't even. It's like popping a pimple. I was like, finally,
Ugh, yeah, you
I've
can
been wanting to do this for 22 years now.
you can stop watching. You can go walk into the
Yeah.
ocean. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's
Putting rocks in my
gross.
pockets, walking to the ocean. I'm done now.
He's
Yeah, I
good.
found
He's
out.
going to heaven. That's what I assume how it works. If you have all your questions answered, you get to go up.
Yeah.
So guests arrive. The people immediately have difficulty understanding family style. Was that weird?
I did think that was weird.
Yeah. Well, I started doing a stand-up joke about family style.
Oh, here we
Oh.
go.
And I was-
Workshop it.
Yeah,
well,
try
well the joke essentially was like, like every restaurant's trying to do family style now. I was like, it's cool, but like, before I order, let me know what type of family, because definitely some of these
Okay.
family styles are not coming from a 2-income household.
Okay, yeah, that's
And-
good.
Nice.
But like, I'll do that joke, and sometimes people are like, huh? And I was like, we all know what family style is, but then I'm like, I am a guy who
Oh.
like eats out a
Do
lot.
people? Okay, now I feel crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, everyone knows a family style is. Now
Exactly,
yeah.
right? But
it feels like common knowledge, but
sometimes that joke, it just doesn't hit.
Interesting.
And I'm
I
like,
mean,
and it's definitely from people being like, what the fuck are you talking about family styles? Like, are we all not just, I don't know, let us know, pots
Right.
and pans. Are y'all aware of what
well,
family?
but here's like the self-selecting problem is I
Yeah.
feel like if you watch Top Chef and you want more Top Chef content and you found us a podcast
You
talking
know.
about Top Chef, you know what family
Yeah.
style is.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and we
That's
know. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
because of we
I
love
gotta ask-
restaurants.
My personal trainer whose idea of going out once a month is eating at Chili's with his family if he knows what family
Oh.
style is.
Yes.
Yeah, he
That's
may
a good
not.
one.
He's never
He
gonna
may
listen to
not.
this.
Yeah.
He just thinks of Chili's when he thinks of his family.
Yeah.
So Chili's style. But yeah, I wonder. I wonder if these people have that same problem, but they're going to this. How they get into restaurant wars? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But then, yeah. So if they're like big eater readers, eater
Yeah.
writers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
foodies, like they should know. But I wonder if they're kind of playing it up. Like I'm confused. Like immediately, I'm gonna like call out this flaw.
The eater writer did talk about that. She was like,
A little performative.
she's like, do I say something that I know is going to get on the air?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Some
Or do I
people
just give my
definitely
honest
got on.
opinion, which is that it's fine?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of performance. I mean, we've kind of seen this throughout. I keep
Yeah.
quoting some people's funny quotes, but I'm, so I'm, I guess, part of the problem. But yeah, so people are like, okay, I guess we'll just do one of everything. And then, so interesting. They run it. So yeah, Nona Pipone does have some problems. Shuai is like, oh, they're ordering a lot. And he's front of house. Okay. And this is exactly what happens every year. One of the front of houses just like doesn't want
I
to
don't know why.
bother the judges when it's like.
And
if you
wasn't
watch
he
the
one of
show-
those? Exactly. He watches the
he
show.
watches the show.
Yeah.
He practiced poutine before.
You've seen the
knowing,
show.
Yeah, knowing they'll probably do poutine for Canada. Well, you know what? You're also going to do restaurant wars. And if
Yeah.
you're front of house, you got to bother the judges.
Get in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So strange.
I think they're
Drove me
just so
crazy.
nervous they don't know, they don't want their voice to crack when they're like, Tom.
Yeah. And it is interesting because they have built a rapport with the core judges over the course
Yeah.
of this season. So I get their, like, Janet was sort of criticizing him for being like, you're too honest. You know,
Yeah.
you're saying, I'm tired. You
tired.
can't tell. And I get that. That is true.
Yeah.
But he probably sees them and he hears them ask, how you doing? And he's like, oh, well, I'll be
Right.
honest with Tom because
Right.
I've seen him and we always are honest with
But
Tom.
I'm just
you know?
like,
Yeah.
if you've watched 21 seasons of this show, you know what it's supposed to look like. And not only do you know what it's supposed to look like, it's something you do in your job every day.
Yeah.
Just go out there and be a regular person who runs a restaurant. Say hi to people,
Right.
make sure they have drinks, be nice, smile. It's not,
present
you know
the
what I mean?
dishes, answer the questions. Yeah, and I do think he almost, because cutting to like what he was saying at the judges table, he almost thought of maybe front of house is more like, oh well, I train the staff, I do all these other
Right,
things
right.
that I do, I communicate with the kitchen, and then that front facing thing, which is what I think we weigh most in
Right,
restaurant wars,
right.
was not like was only a small component of that
Yeah,
maybe,
Yeah.
but very interesting. And then the other thing about family style is Janet said that like she didn't like how they have no utensils for the central dishes.
Very
Makes
valid
total
criticism.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they lost their fork in there. I mean, yeah, that happens all the time. But okay, and then also before I go over the dishes though, on the flip side, just so we can compare, apples to apples,
Right.
Massimo greeting the judges as we talked about with the prosecco and
Too
then being
casual.
too casual.
Yeah.
That was I don't think I've seen many people overdo it because I'm always like, just overdo
Yeah,
it and
yeah,
be
yeah.
too friendly and ask
Yeah.
them too many questions or whatever, answer too many questions and tell them too much.
Yes.
But he actually did go a little overboard.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
felt
Yeah, there was that
overtouched.
bit where he just like cleared some glasses and they like stopped talking mid criticism.
Right.
Like, he's right there.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah. So I guess you can do too much, which I've never seen.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah. They had that moment.
But it is like air toward that side, air
Yeah.
toward over service because it's really hard to be over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
you
knowing
have to be
Massimo.
Massimo to do
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
No,
yeah.
Knowing Massimo, he can go over, but no average person
Yeah.
would. Okay. So let's go back to the dishes. Team 1 meaning Flora. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Team 1 meaning Nona Pipone. We had the first course, which was Bailey's Chipotle Chorizo Arancini with Tonato Aioli.
Their favorite dish of the menu.
They did. Yeah. Well done. Shuai had his frutte de mare with aguachile.
Underseasoned.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Second course, Cesar, ancho braised short rib with polenta. Thought the polenta was a little tight.
That's right. Yeah.
Bailey cannelloni al forno with toasted pepitas and almond romesco.
Whole almonds.
Whole almonds.
Whole
Yummy,
almonds.
yummy, yummy.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, get that protein. Cesar churros with pistachio creme anglaise.
Not good churros.
Yeah, it was a little dry, but they tasted fine.
Yeah.
And then Paola torta di noci with tres leches.
Gross.
Yeah,
They
they
hated
all
it.
did not like
They
that one.
hated
And
it.
she ran out of it at some point. So
Yeah.
that was like a bit rough. But I don't think they even noticed that. But overall, they said it was like a soul satisfying place. They really did like the concept, felt like it carried through, but the desserts fell short. So yeah, so that was sort of the Nona Pipone. Now over to the dishes for Flora and Fauna. Another thing, all the chefs came out for them, right, and actually presented their
So
dish.
smart. So
Takes
smart.
a little weight off
Yeah,
of Massimo, even though
Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah.
need weight off of Massimo, I suppose.
This was another thing that the
yeah.
eater writer highlighted that I thought was interesting is like you forget that if you're dining there in the restaurant, at that point you don't know who the chefs are. They have not been
Oh,
announced to the
yeah.
public.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
you know in your head there has to be some drama happening back in the kitchen, but other than that it's like going to a restaurant. You're just being served some food.
Yeah.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean?
You know, the stories. you
Right,
know, the
exactly,
tears,
yeah.
Fascinating. So you just see the one guy, if you see him at all. you
Well,
know?
and I thought of that because it's kind of weird to see like these 5 people march to the dining room and talk to the judges, and
sure.
you're like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
yeah, another treatment that they got special. So first course was Lana with her cured and smoked trout with potluck or consomme. That looked really good.
Mhm, mhm.
Everybody loved the consomme. Tristan grilled mushroom escovitch.
Mhm.
I did write that, and I wrote escovitch with the bitch.
Which well,
Escovitch.
those are 2 different things, right? Or am I wrong? Escovitch and escabeche are 2
Oh,
different things.
escobiche, yeah, different thing.
Yeah.
I just wrote it with because it's. I just wrote it saying escobitch. So I was like, "Is that how you spell it? Can't be." And then I looked at, oh, it's a B.
That's how I refer to my sister.
Yeah,
Escobitch.
yeah, nice, nice. Take that.
Sorry, love you.
I don't know. Yeah, I was like, "Is that your? Do you have a sister?"
I do have a
Oh,
sister.
okay, great.
Not a bitch. Very
Okay,
cool.
you
Love
heard
my
it here.
sister.
Canadian-
She's never gonna listen to this.
Okay, great, even better. Canadian base scallop, ajo blanco, celery, and dawa dawa broth. Beautiful. Just as Tristan.
Great.
Second course, Vinny with his butternut squash confit with grilled pork and XO sauce.
Eater writer did say it was the best squash she's had.
Oh, yeah. They
Oh,
said,
wow.
yeah, they're
Squash
like,
is
how'd
very
you get the squash? It tastes like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Vinny coming back. Lana with her truffle potato and celery root pithivier with lamb jus.
Mhm.
They said dough slightly raw but tasty. And then third course, Massimo with his corn cremu with corn ice cream, grilled blueberry condiment, and blueberry crisp. They
Love
really
it.
love that one.
I-
That little circular thing
yeah,
on top.
yeah. I'm in for any corn dessert. I think I've
Yeah,
said this on the show
yeah.
before. I had corn
Yeah.
soup before coming to the studio today.
Ooh.
I love corn.
Whoa. this
Corn
guy-
rips.
Farmer wants a wife.
I'd marry a farmer
Yeah,
for the
for
access
the
to corn.
corn.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Get
That fresh,
tapped
fresh
in on the corn.
yeah, yeah. All right. They love that. And then, yeah, Tristan's milk custard, chocolate custard with dirt chocolate and caramelized parsnip. Great way to end the meal.
And a
I
sherry
like that.
vinaigrette. Sherry vinegar.
Oh.
That was
I
the
see
part where
that
they're
on
like, that's the star.
Oh. Yeah, overall, they really liked the sophisticated concept, but the service was a little too casual. So they kind of were keeping it up in the air here, but I
Yeah.
feel
Sure.
like we kind of knew who
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
favorite because the dishes were just better. So at the judges' table, they tell Flora and Fauna to stay, and that's Massimo, Lana, Tristan, and Vinny, and they are the favorite restaurant. Yay!
Did you guys cry when they won? I did.
No.
I only cried when they started crying.
Yeah, yeah. Same.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But
okay,
it is
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so satisfying to be like Tristan is so fucking good
Oh my God.
Yeah.
that at
Even
his worst he did the absolute best.
with
Yeah.
the hardest job.
Yeah. And now is like honoring his father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I know. Yeah.
You're doing
Yeah,
it
he
up.
literally
Yeah.
immediately.
You're
Yeah.
Doing it up.
Yeah.
Should have picked him.
I know.
Oh, I'm
I know.
sorry.
Yeah.
It would have been my, and I was like, I'm gonna just stick to the bit. Shouldn't have. Should stick to the tryst.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, yeah, it was so moving when they all, and then it's funny because I think the first season, Kristen cried in one of the earlier things, or she was, I think somebody
This is
cried.
her new thing.
So she cried again
She
here.
cries at
And
one
so,
judge's table
Yeah.
per
I
season.
yeah, and Gail kind of her voice cracked too. So I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
I mean, God, I can not cry, right? But I
Yeah.
think, I wonder there, what did you think the judges probably didn't know at that point, or
I don't
had
think
been
they
told?
did.
Yeah, they look surprised.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're-
but yeah.
Okay. I should have brought this up too. I read another article this week. I think it was just a straight up interview on like Hollywood Reporter or Variety. They just like did, because, like you said last week, it's Emmy season. They just had a short interview with the judges, and Tom mentioned that, where he's like, Tom told the interviewer, he was like, sometimes you can tell that the producers know something and they won't tell us what it is.
Oh.
Because they
And you're
just
like,
know
what's
it'll
gonna
come
come
out of
out?
judges table or
Sure.
whatever, But he's like, yeah, a lot of the times we kind of don't know. And Kristen was like, yeah, it's fun to watch the season after it comes out, because then I get to see some of the drama that I was not told about.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean?
Ooh,
Yeah. So I think there is a lot that the judges don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. And it's so, hectic anyway. So it's like, what would be the time to tell them all in the same room,
Yeah,
So, and
yeah.
unless it's
Yeah.
on camera. So makes sense. But yeah, so we get a lot of crying points here.
Oh, that's
As-
right.
as
Yeah,
rough
yeah.
I
as
forgot.
that
Yeah,
is.
everyone gets
So
crying points.
obviously all the judges table people get a point, but then for that crying too, I mean, Tristan gets 2 points for winning.
Yeah.
And then crying, it was a little tough because they didn't show everybody, but it was very clear, like Tristan's crying. Obviously Vinny was really crying.
Okay, yeah,
That
big
was
tears.
sweet. Lana, she kind of had like a crying face, but they didn't zoom into her, so I did give her half a point.
I'll take it.
But
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
figured she was like
Yeah,
right
yeah.
next to him, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Paola they showed crying
Okay.
off to the side. So
Yes.
who knows? Like they didn't really show anyone else. Massimo, I could pretty much tell wasn't crying.
he's never cried a tear in his
he's
life.
like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand what's going on. But I'm sure he was there with him in spirit. And then Kristen and Gail, obviously, but they're not anybody's team. But yeah, so they all get half a point. And then around this time, for some reason, I got an ad. I got a commercial, cut to commercial. It was a San Pellegrino ad.
What?
Whoa, on
Wow.
Peacock, Stanley
Hot
Tucci.
take.
Yeah,
Wow.
you guys didn't get this?
No.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
Coming in
happened.
swinging.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they were able to get that.
That is wild.
So just letting the people at Saratoga know.
Yeah, they
Pellegrino's
back
on your
on the
tail.
block,
Yeah.
yeah.
Send us a couple cases for that hot tip. Okay, and then coming back in, Nona Pipone, they are the least favorite restaurant. They kind of criticize them for the things we talked about for each of their dish, but kind of the overarching thing is like Paula was the executive chef. She did have a hand in all these dishes. She probably could have caught a lot of these things, but Bailey does speak up for her in the end.
which I thought was
which is
nice.
sweet. Yeah, she was really rooting for her. And I do think she probably did put in a lot of work, right? So it's kind of hard to see that person get kind of all the heat.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Bailey cried in the stew room, so she gets half
for
a point.
tears. Yeah.
And then so then the judges kind of debate, and it's like a little bit between Shawai and
Mhm.
between Paola, right?
Mhm.
And so Gail says it always comes down to the chef and the manager.
Yeah.
And that is true. That's why I'm always like, why do you even volunteer to be in the first place?
Yeah.
Just be one of the middle people.
I think it's that thing that drives people to want to be on the show in the first place, which is that like you just want to prove that you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
Right. You'd rather die a hero than
Right, exactly.
go
Yeah.
down like a wuss. I don't know.
Little baby.
Little dessert chef.
You know, like a
bitch.
Yellow.
Not
Yeah.
gonna kiss any of the
Belly.
girls living on your farm.
Right. Little Esco bitch. So
Only
yeah.
thing
So
yellow
that's
about
why.
me is this yellowtail I sliced up.
Oh damn. So that's bridging a lot of timelines or eras. Okay, so so I don't know, between Paula and Shawai, we obviously know who goes home, but did you guys think like either should have at this point?
It felt like a real toss up to me.
Yeah.
They narrowed it down correctly, those two, and it felt like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Where it was like they both made pretty big mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, we said this last season where the big risk is when you lead, you might be the one to get tippy tap.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you consider front of house to be a leadership position, or just like a high risk position?
High risk because you're in their face and you're like you're the face that they kind of think of
Right.
whenever they think of their experience or the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like if service goes wrong, somehow it's on the
Yeah.
front of house.
Yeah.
But then like food wise, they just it was kind of like they both did so bad it was hard. But it's hard. God. Okay, so then and honestly, Tom's kind of was, I think, pulling for Shawai, and maybe
Mhm.
he has a bigger voice. So anyway, we learn Paola is going to Last Chance Kitchen, and next week they're gonna jump off that tower. That's what I.
Oh, that's
saw.
right.
Yeah, I think they're gonna make them do that.
That's
I hate it.
I don't know. We'll see if there's a fake out.
Yeah, I hope. Well, I don't know. They might do it because I mean, chefs are
They
balls
be
of
crazy.
steel. Yeah,
Yeah.
they be crazy. They be jumping off towers. But anyway, I just am like, I feel like the jumping off a tower thing it's for Bachelor Bachelorette. It's like, yeah, you guys
Oh,
want
it's
to
a
come on
normal-
here
Yeah.
and you guys want to earn 100 million followers, then you better
Sure.
jump off this tower.
Yeah.
But chefs, it's like they're already going through so much.
Yeah.
You know?
Tristan's dad
Tristan's-
just
I
died.
know,
You're
my
gonna push him off
God.
the top of a
Yeah,
tower
Jump
now?
off a
That
tower.
was less than 24 hours ago. Okay, so Last Chance Kitchen. We'll
Right.
get into it right away. Challenge. This is kind of rare. I guess they're going off of the Nona Pipone thing, but it's kind of
Sure.
like a generic. I wonder if they kind of have to come up with it right away.
the
and-
spot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
make it generic enough because they're not sure what they're going to do in Restaurant Wars.
I did think it was. Oh, sorry, I'll let you explain the challenge first.
Okay, yeah. So they're supposed to make dishes that tell a story, basically nostalgia, with a sauce element because Paola loved to oversauce.
That's what I
things.
was gonna say. Did you guys think that part was weird? I've never seen a challenge that like specifically picks on one chef. They're like, oh, and by the way, you always do this bullshit, so here you go. Do more of your little bullshit.
That's so funny because
So
yeah,
funny.
it wasn't the reason she got sent home this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just to neg her, and I was
Yeah,
like,
she's like,
why?
Oh, shit. Okay.
They're like, yeah, well, we don't have much ideas. We got to roast you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. We did have this one really geared up to go though because we thought we were going to go home many times. I guess. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even clock that. That's it. Like, oh shit, thanks to insult me after I
Yeah.
got sent to this kitchen.
Just a little
Yeah.
knife twist.
Yeah.
Welcome to the bottom, you little shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Make
Jesus.
your little sauces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sauce
yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Katiana's still there, obviously. And Paola is new. So Katiana makes this seared scallop with snap peas and wasabi greens, potato and onion sauce, and a yuzu soy ginger glaze. So sauce is in there. And she kind of that I kind of forget what her story she was telling there, but it was great, I guess. And then Paula did an encocado sauced lobster with southern succotash. They kind of felt like the lobster was a little undercooked, so Katiana ends up winning Last Chance Kitchen.
Southern succotash.
Yeah. I guess you kind of saw that coming. I feel like Paula was always a little bit underperforming, but
If you'd asked me before the season even started who would win in a fight between Katiana and Paula.
a physical fight.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that was another thing in that like Hollywood Reporter articles. They were talking about, and this is a talking point they do every season, which is just like it's impossible to know how it's going to go because this show isn't really a reflection of like how you are as a chef. It's just like how well can you do this competition.
Yeah.
And they specifically talked about Katiana a lot, where they're like, we were shocked Katiana got out so
Oh,
early
sure.
because on paper you would think she's gonna go all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's always, and what hers getting out was kind of like a random one. It's always like one
Yeah.
bad day. And
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
oh, well, we can't overlook this. So, yeah, but she is doing well in Last Chance Kitchen, and she did get to skip Restaurant Wars, which
Yeah.
I think she was a little bit like, oh, I wish I could have played because
Right.
I want to be in the mix,
Right.
like she would jump off
Yeah.
that tower. But, she kind of gets to, I guess, go past it.
I
which
think
is nice.
next week she'll be back. No.
I didn't say that. So I think there's got to be one more
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
person she faces off against, but I could see it after that. Maybe.
Yeah.
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 Okay,
So
exciting.
let's take a look at these points breakdown again. It's not that great for you guys. It's not going to be that great.
Okay, yeah, let
Yeah.
us say that.
Okay.
We don't like when you say it.
We already know you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
yeah,
to.
you don't
Okay,
have
You
okay.
to.
just
I
you
was trying
just
to prime
Paula
you.
make a sauced us.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no, not my last intention. But yes, I am just trying to,
Mhm.
soften the blow.
Yeah, say the numbers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was no quick fire, no favorites, all that this
Sure.
time. Just the elimination challenge from Restaurant Wars. And again, you can find our rules on Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League. They're pinned to the page. Give us a follow. But first and foremost, judges table. It was Flora and Fauna. So that's Massimo, Tristan, Lana, and Vinny. They all get a point. The winner of the entire Restaurant Wars was Tristan for 2 points. Last Chance Kitchen winner was Katiana for half a point. And for crying, we got all 5, Tristan, Vinny, Paola, Lana, and Bailey for half a
Wow.
point each.
Wow.
So this week, Mike, you gained 1 point.
Woo!
Iffy, 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
And I will gain 6 points.
This is
And
What
Mike,
is
that
that?
puts you
Even as a number,
I know.
What does that?
increasingly, yeah, I just have a lot of chefs. I mean, Paola goes home, which was mine.
Mhm.
But with Katiana still, Tristan, Vinny,
you still have a
yeah.
4-person team or 3?
I think that's just 3
3.
now.
Okay. Wow. Still.
How many
Unless I'm
are on
forgetting
your
somebody.
I've had 1 team member for 2 weeks now.
You have Massimo.
Yeah, I have
Okay,
Massimo. That's
Massimo.
it.
He was a big.
Okay.
He got his point this time around.
I have these 3 hanging on, and I really shout out to y'all.
You got Lana, Bailey, and Cesar. Okay,
Cesar,
yeah. Those are good.
Hanging
Okay,
on.
I want to
Okay.
hear the point totals. I want to know if he even has a chance.
Sure.
I certainly don't. I'm already out. I'm long gone.
With just Massimo, yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, Mike, you have 18.5 points.
Okay.
Iffy, you have 22.5 points.
Okay.
And I have 43.75 points.
tight. Tight.
So hey, and
Tight.
Okay, so
might-
so the question is, can Iffy with 3 team members gain 25-ish
Yeah.
points and
Right.
you gain 0 points
Zero
Oh,
points.
sure.
within 3
Like
or 4
I need your
episodes.
whole team to be injured when they jump off the tower.
Just
Yeah.
splat on the
yeah,
ground.
yeah.
And they air that on television.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with no points for that,
Yeah.
We don't have that in the scoreboard yet. or
Okay,
whatever.
well, preemptive
Next time.
congrats.
Well, thank you. I'll take it. No, but yeah, so stay tuned for next week. Even if this is a bit of a runaway, we don't know who survives the tower jump. So that's
Well, I think much
exciting.
like in the show, we kind of know who's running away with this.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
I
anything
mean,
can
yeah,
happen.
you never
Anything can
know.
happen. Look,
You never
Katiana
know.
got out. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I know.
that's
Ooh,
true.
Katiana v. Tristan. Yeah.
And Katiana could
Yeah.
pull a Kristen Kish, come back
She
in,
could
win the
come
whole
back.
thing. We don't
Yeah.
know.
That would be so tight.
Yeah.
Wow. Many possibilities.
Guys, can I add quickly that
Yeah.
Val
Oh, yeah.
says 43?
Yep.
Yep.
43.
43.
Yep,
Thanks for
43.
reiterating that one, Val.
Yeah,
Solid
that's
contribution
true.
to the conversation.
Yes. That's
43 indeed. I'm going to go jump off a tower now.
The text thread is I love the pit, then 43.
Yeah. So we I think we might even get a new record for highest.
It might.
Score,
yeah,
yeah.
we've never done that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, comparing.
Highest total pointage for any
Sure.
season.
We added the crying this scoreboard, so it's not exactly,
It's not
apples
it's never going to
to
be 1 for 1.
apples,
But that's the same thing like in the NFL when they're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is the most like rush yardage in a
Mm.
season. It's like, well, they didn't run that much in
Yeah.
1942, you know.
That's right. These are 2025 rules.
Something Sierra understands.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I can see it on your face.
Nobody ran in 1942. I assume that's what it means. All right. Well, guys, I think that's all we can say for Restaurant Wars this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, please share it with someone who also loves Top Chef or just wants to listen to some fun stuff.
I just remember something. Can we
Yeah.
give one shout out?
Yeah.
Chef Ron, I don't remember his last name, who was a contestant on Top Chef Las Vegas, which was one of the early seasons. It's like season 5 or 6 or something like that. I actually don't know if he listens to this podcast, but he did DM us.
Ooh.
And I think the DM was literally just the word nice or like cool or something like that.
Yeah.
So he acknowledged we exist,
Okay,
and therefore, Chef Ron, we also acknowledge that you
Oh
exist.
my
Yeah.
God.
How you doing?
Las Vegas, baby. Yes. Thank you so much. Be like Chef Ron. Send us a DM. Follow us on. Oh, he doesn't follow us, I assume. Well, we'll
Yeah.
work our way
Well,
into
yeah,
Chef
yeah.
Ron's graces.
Yeah.
But yeah, please. Also even more help would be if you could go to MaximumFun.org/join,
Mhm.
where you can support us for as little as $5 a month. Really helps us out, keeps us going. We love our members. That's why we cheat to camera. We show them our faces.
Yeah.
If you have any thoughts or suggestions too, drop us a line on Instagram, DM us at TV Chef Fantasy League, or follow us, or send us an email at chef@maximumfun.org. We love to get emails. Also, if you dispute any of, maybe I don't have 43. I don't know. Let me know. If you're doing your own Top Chef Fantasy League with friends, please tag us. Let us know if you have team names or how you're doing. If anybody's crushing it like me, do let me
Okay,
know.
all
All
right.
right. Relax.
And,
Now someone is going to, someone named Bike Mabalon is going to send an email and be like, actually, I did the math. Sierra has 12 points.
I mean, it is the first time I've been commissioner. It's a little coincidental.
Yeah.
But for full unedited episodes and for our faces, you can check us out on YouTube. Thanks again to my co-host, Mike Cabalon. And if you Wadiway, we'll be back next week. See who jumps out the tower or who dies. Thank you. TV Chef Fantasy League is a Maximum Fun production. Our producer is Valerie Moffat. Our engineer is Gabe Mara. Our theme song is by Dylan Van Auken. Our artwork is by Sabrina Volante. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TV Chef Fantasy League.